November 9th, 2021, the Fishers Plan Unit Development Committee meeting. And I will call our first agenda item. We have the first agenda item being PUD-21-22. The petitioner is Stevenato Group. A petition for approval of a site design and architecture for a new 385,000 square foot pharmaceutical glass manufacturing facility. And this is the first phase of a two-phase build-out. And we have staff here to present.
Yes, thank you. Megan Vukasic for the record. So the petitioner tonight is WSP on behalf of Stevenato Group. They are requesting approval, as Howard just mentioned, for their pharmaceutical glass manufacturing facility. So the first phase of build-out will be 385,000 square feet, and the complete total square footage after the second phase will be 600,000 square feet. So a very large building. I don't think I've approved a building this large at my time with Fishers. So just to locate us all, so this is at the corner of 126th Street and Cumberland Road. And here identified in green is the site area for this project. And so here is the proposed site design. This is the landscaping plan, so you'll see some trees located on here. This is the first phase, so that'll be the portion of the building that's closer to Cumberland Road. This blue box will be the phase 2, but for phase 1, they will be constructing the parking lot. They'll also be constructing 2 local roads that will be public right-of-way, one that will run north-south and one that will run east-west, connecting to Cumberland. They're also accommodating detention, but that is still being designed currently, so that is going to change from what is shown here. But what we're really here to discuss today is the elevations. And so before I show you the elevations, I just want to place us all that the main entrance of the building is located at this corner here, and that is the corner of the building that is closest to Cumberland Road. So here are the elevations. This is that corner that was circled in that site design. Here's an overview looking south. So here's 126th Street, here's Cumberland, here's I-69. Again, this shows the first phase only. We would anticipate that second phase just to almost be a duplicate of the first phase right next to it. And then you can see here, this again is that entrance feature, but this shows the landscaping that's proposed in front of the building. This is the elevation that was proposed in the petitioner's packet. Since we've received this elevation, and I'll let Jeff Hill, who's with WSP, speak a little bit more to this, but they have revised the elevations to change the color scheme a bit, and so this is what they are now seeking approval of, and this is more of a gray color scheme. And so I will just show this kind of side-by-side comparison. Okay, great. Yeah, it sounds like we got some printouts here as well. So I'll leave this up when Jeff takes over, but I do just want to highlight some existing conditions as well. So to the east of the property is the U.S. Foods facility, and so you see the elevation pulled up here. So that's another manufacturing industrial building. And then to the west is the Reynolds Farm Equipment as well. So these views are both from I-69. Sorry, it's a little bit hard to see, but from I-69, it's the elevation is a little bit lower for that building. But both of those are industrial buildings that have that industrial look to them. So that is the surrounding character of this area. Staff does recommend approval. We're generally supportive of the architecture, but are open to any comments that you all have. And we do ask that if you approve, that you do so on the condition that all TAC comments are addressed before final approval is given. With that, I will turn it over to Jeff Hill with WSP. Here's the elevations if you want to toggle back and forth as well.
I think we'll be all right. Hello, good evening. Jeff Hill with WSP. Appreciate being able to talk to you today about the Stevenato Group project. Just a little bit about the company. Megan stole a lot of my talking points, so I won't repeat them. But Stevenato Group is a multinational company founded in 1949 in Italy. They're a developer of glass and plastic drug containment systems. They've got over 4,000 employees worldwide and are really excited about the project here in Fishers. Like Megan noted, it's a two-phase project and represents at completion about $140 million investment in the community. Happy to partner with Fishers and really look forward to working with the city, redevelopment commission, and this group, TAC and others, to help bring the project to fruition. The site is located on about 35.7 acres in the newly established Fishers Life Sciences and Innovation Park, and happy to be a part of that, creating about 250 jobs, maybe even up to 300 jobs. I think 250 is the minimum commitment, with an average salary of about $70,000 per year. Like Megan noted, two-phase project, but we're here seeking approval for the look and the feel of the entire building. The first phase is expected to begin as early as possible in 2022, with full occupancy in fall of 2023. Some administrative functions would be coming hopefully earlier in 2023. And then I don't think there's a specific timeline related to the second phase of the expansion, but it should come within just a couple of years after completion of the first phase. We've been working with, like Megan noted, with the Fishers TAC members, engineering, planning and zoning, police, fire, public works, and more, and look forward to continuing through the development process. And to that end, Megan summarized the request and consideration we're requesting by the committee today. The elevations, like I say, the color scheme has changed ever so slightly with some kind of top-down opinions after we had a color scheme for the building from the Stevanato Group executive officials. And so the color scheme and the updated information that Megan presented, and in the packet I handed you, the top packet of information is the current color scheme and the look and feel. Some of the material elements in the structure are shown on the board in front of me, and you can see them in the packet and on the elevations. Like Megan alluded to, it's a commercial building, but industrial in feel, and so it's steel construction with precast concrete panels for a lot of the building structure itself. But our architecture team has tried to work with Megan, her team, in bringing some elevation features to it, as you see in the renderings. Certainly working on the color schemes, articulation, so that we avoid kind of a large just wall of panel fascia. I guess also noting that, like Megan showed you, in the context of some of the other buildings in the area, certainly kind of a similar look and feel as far as scheme goes. The Stevanato Group is working with Fishers locally. We've begun the process and working with the state and their approvals for the building foundation and approval process. We want to continue to work with the local community to help make that happen and gain the permits we need. We appreciate the consideration by the group today and would respectfully ask for your approval of the project and its architecture landscape today. We'll continue to work with Megan and her team to make sure we've addressed all the TAC committee comments as a condition of that approval. And I guess I will say I'm the nearest engineer that got to attend. I'm not an architect. I'll be happy to try to answer some of your questions that you might have, but go easy on me, and I'll open it up any feedback or questions that you do have.
Thank you. I appreciate the presentation by the staff and also the petitioner. Fellow board members, any questions or comments?
On the south side of the building, so the area, the second rendering, is there anything that can be done? Again, I understand it's the flat panel the whole way, but is there something with the lighter gray color that if it's stripes of paint, something that could be done just to help break it up a bit more?
I think that seems like a reasonable ask. I do want to point out that these renderings don't show the articulation as well as it could, in my opinion anyway. And so we definitely want to work with making sure we've got some patterning in there. If I can convince the Stevanato folks to do maybe like a two-tone gray, they're certainly sold on the gray, but if we can introduce some different coloring, I'd be happy to try to get that done.
Great. And then on the front side, are those canisters full of materials related to their manufacturing on the north side, or are those more just decorative?
I honestly don't know the answer to that,
Okay.
Megan. I can certainly find out and report back to you.
Is it?
Sean?
Thank you. East elevation or west elevation as well, not just south elevation. So I know that that's the side you're expanding.
Right.
What, do you know timeline-wise when phase 2 will happen?
There's discussion that it should just be within the next 2 to 3 to 4 or 5 years. I mean, it's
Okay.
in that very somewhat near-term expansion plan. I don't know through the economic development discussions that there's been a commitment made yet, but all indications are it's a kind of a near-term condition with regards to that middle wall that will be removed and expanded out to the west. There certainly would be landscaping elements that go along with that that aren't in these particular renderings, and that west fascia, I guess, would be adjacent to the pond. There's also some fencing there, so I think there's some other elements that'll be there to kind of break up the monotony of what's going on with
Yeah.
just those wall panels.
Yeah, I guess I would say if there's a paint treatment to the south elevation, if it, obviously it's just paint, so it's not a huge ask from a cost standpoint. If that could be reflective also on that west elevation, just because that is going to be pretty visible from 69, especially in the interim while the building is occupied prior to phase 2 being built. I had the same question about I think that they're tanks. They're probably, my guess is nitrogen tanks or some other gas tank. That was a question from my standpoint as well, is obviously they're facing the front side of the building. Hard to screen something that's that tall. It does appear that, you know, if there's an attempt to maybe paint them to match the building, which is what it kind of looks like they are, that would be preferred. And I couldn't tell from the site plan really where those sit relative to parking, and this probably may be a question to ask the client relative to filling those tanks, because typically a tanker is going to pull up and connect to it to fill them. Frequency of that occurring, and does that occur early in the morning, late at night? Because it appears to be kind of the parking area of the building is kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah, they're adjacent. They're fairly closely adjacent to the building and would be accessed from the parking area.
Yeah.
But if there's something we can do color-wise related to making them blend in with the building, I'll say better than just that matching. We certainly want to be sensitive to that. I guess I don't know timing there. What I do know is Stevanato intends to have folks occupying the building 24 hours a day, and so there could be material needs and delivery needs throughout the day. If there's certain commitments we need to make, I can certainly make those known to the client, or our client, the owner.
Yeah, I think, and my guess is that they've got a safety plan in place in general for their facility, and that would be part of it, especially if they've got a 24-hour operation, because there won't ever be a time when that parking lot is empty, is what I'm getting at. So they're going to have to coordinate that, and
Yes.
I just pointing it out, I guess, from my standpoint. I don't think there's anything that we can do from our standpoint. And then it looks like truck dock is recessed within the building, kind of in an alcove. I really appreciate that being done. Based on the number of docks, I'm guessing not a high volume. It's not like this is an e-commerce building where you've got hundreds of trucks
Right.
coming and going on a daily
Yeah,
basis.
there are some trucks that would come in and out. It is relatively low compared to some other users in this area. US Foods, not to single them out, but they have trucks in and out
Yeah.
quite often, so it would be quite a bit different order of magnitude.
And it didn't appear that there was like provisions for trailer storage or anything like that on site, so I would assume that that's not something that they need, because again, it's not an
Correct.
e-commerce facility.
Correct.
No concerns architecturally, other than just kind of pointing out the tanks and kind of the paint. On the north elevation, a point of liking, I guess I'd say. Really appreciate the nice large band of glass clear story at the west end of that north elevation. I assume that that's part of the manufacturing area, or is intended to be part of the manufacturing area.
I honestly don't know.
But I really like that, much better than just kind of small punched openings, so like that attention to detail.
I'll let
Nothing
the
else.
architecture team know.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Talked a lot.
No. Great insight. Thanks, Sean. Any other further comments? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve, subject to the TAC approvals. That what it was supposed to be?
Yes, and then I guess I would add if you want to make a condition that they
Yes.
look at patterns and the colors on the south and west elevation.
Yes, and also with consideration of additional paint, articulation, et cetera, on the south side and the west side of the, or east side of the building, west side.
South and west?
Yes,
South and west. Okay.
yes, please.
Thanks. We have a motion by Megan,
A second?
second by Sean. All those in favor, use the voting sign aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next matter on the agenda is PUD-21-23 Bond Building Drive-Thru. The petitioner is CS Property Management, and they're requesting approval of elevations for a drive-through and pickup window for Jack's Donuts. The subject site is located north of 131st Street and east of Saxony Boulevard in the Saxony neighborhood. The property is zoned PUDM, Saxony. The address is 13578 East 131st Street, Fishers, Indiana, 46037. And we will have staff present for us. Thanks, Bree.
Bree King, Planning and Zoning. So this is probably the most important item on the agenda since it does involve donuts.
Yeah.
As stated, the petitioner is CS Property Management. We do have our presenter, Jeremy Stewart, with Woolpert today. The scope is a new pickup window and drive-through for Jack's Donuts, who is a current tenant. It is in the Saxony PUD and also in the I-69 overlay, and the existing land use is commercial. Here you can see the existing aerial on the left and then the proposal on the right there. I will point out that there are parking spots being removed, but the required parking is still met. The ADA parking is being reduced by 1, but it still meets the minimum requirements and is being relocated to, you can see the yellow speck there kind of in the L of the building. So here are the existing conditions. You can see that there is a large amount of transparency along the side on the right photo, which is where the drive-through window will be placed. Where the window is, you can kind of tell from this photo, there is a sign covering that window, so we won't be losing transparency. Here is the site plan with the area that is being affected in the bubble. So there is existing landscaping for that parking lot that will act as a screen for the new drive-through. They're also placing 14 new shrubs and, like I said, maintaining the existing boxwood shrubs. The drive-through aisle will be painted to clearly direct traffic, so staff doesn't feel like there will be confusion for early morning patrons trying to get their breakfast. Here is the elevation. This is from the south, so as you can see, there is brick that's visible for the new drive-through. It's not changing the overall look of the building, and these elevations have been approved by the Saxony Review Board. Here are the other elevations, so some notable features. The pickup window is going to be brick, which will match the existing building. The canvas awning is also going to match what is currently out on site. And then there will be cast stone band that once again matches existing, so it'll be very cohesive with what is already out there. So staff does recommend approval of PUD 21-23 as TAC comments have been addressed. This is the last step for them. So I can pass it over. Well, there we go. And here is the site plan.
Thank you for your time as she went through. I think it's pretty simple. We just need to to bump the building out right here in order to get the drive-through closer to the parking area. So, let's see if I can zoom in here. Is that the zoom? There we go. So the very last one that has a sign in it that it's in the kitchen area already and they've blanked it out, that's where we're gonna take the storefront out, add the bump out, and add the pickup window. There is not a point of order out in the drive-through lane anywhere. This is, you come to the window and pick up, or drive-through pre-orders online. So with COVID, they were not getting a lot of people going in the building or wanting to go in, so this is one of their changes, is a lot of orders just coming through the window. So as was discussed, we lost a row of parking along the south edge that becomes the drive aisle, but we're still over the required count for the building. And the owner was okay with losing those parking spots. This is the ADA spot that ends up being relocated over by the L of the building, because once you're in this spot, this blocked the drive-through blocked the sidewalk, so you couldn't access it anymore. I think there's one conflict here between these two drawings. It shouldn't make a substantial difference. This one's more accurate, the height of the awning. We're gonna make it 8'6", so this one was correct. This one's showing a little low. But still canvas awning, and behind the awning, above the window is brick. And the intent is the brick and the cast stone match the detailing that is happening on the existing building. Which you can see the colors and the finish here. So we'd have the same brick and the same cast stone at the same height.
Great.
So our one limiting height issue was the existing cornice feature, and that's one of the reasons the drive-through is a little shorter. So,
Thank you.
any questions?
May I ask you, can you share your name for the record? I don't
Yeah,
believe you
sorry,
shared.
Jeremy Stewart with Wolpert.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'll share it with the board members. I have one question first. Can you share with us again, I probably overlooked it, regarding the number of parking spaces that will be lost as a result of the drive-through?
Existing was 139, we're down to 123. Yep. And then ADA stalls was 6, and we're down to 5.
Thank you. Fellow board members?
No, no issues. It seems like a pretty straightforward solution. Especially with no ordering, there's really, I can imagine the queuing of people.
Yeah, I think we actually end up with a lot more queuing than we need because of just the length of the number of parking stalls we took out.
Thank you. Well, with that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Megan.
I'll second it.
We have a second by Sean. Okay, I guess I'll ask you to do roll call. I should have done that, probably the first one too.
Ms. Baumgartner,
Yes.
Mr. Kerr.
Yes.
Sorry, Mr. Curran,
Yes.
and Mr. Stevenson.
Yes, the motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's see, for the Riverside PUD Committee, I don't believe we have any agenda items. Sean? Staff communication?
I just want to note that the 2022 schedule was provided as a part of the agenda, so if you guys have any questions about that, feel free to reach out.
Okay. And Megan, for the 2022 calendar, will staff send calendar invites for that to be on our calendar, or will we have to initiate that?
They were sent last week.
Were they?
Yes,
So they're probably already on our calendar. I'll check with my assistant.
but let me know if
Okay.
you don't see it.
Sure. Thank you. Seeing no other agenda items, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved. Thank you.